Okay, go on.
Concerning our own division between both characters, Macbeth and King Lear, and our study with the archetypal theory and talking about the concepts of such theory here in such plays, concerning these figures, these two figures, how can we consider them as superficial? Of course, we said that King Lear we can consider it just as a confirmation for my behavior.
King Lear is not.
Yes, here these points that I want to really have a comparison between Macbeth and Macbeth definitely, as we see that he thought that every murder could really solve one of his problems. Yes, he really didn't study the deep interpretation of his own behavior, I think. And also as King Lear, just here I need a clarification for these points, if you please help.
Okay. Okay. So I want to show you the differences or the similarities between King Lear and Macbeth.
Yes, I know everything concerning your own explanation, clear explanation, thoughtful explanation. Thanks, Dr. Elad. But here, just between these two characters, as we see that we were discussing the issues, what about the superficial part that we see it in King Lear, and if we have it with Macbeth, concerning their own behavior to achieve or to have a disorder or to restore the social order in their own kingdom?
Okay. There is a big difference between both. Okay, Macbeth is controlled by the id, i.e. he is controlled by a personal desire.
Instincts, yes.
Okay, so he is highly subjective. He is individualistic. Okay, so that's why he kills the king to become the king. Exactly. And Macbeth engages in a process called the struggle for survival, the survival of the fittest. Okay, so Macbeth, who is a selfish person, highly individualistic, wants to achieve the stability of his reign regardless of the consequences of the measures that he takes. Okay, so in Act 3 he tells his wife that he will try to stabilize his reign even if it leads him to destroy this world and the other world, i.e. our world and the afterworld. Okay, so this means that Macbeth is a highly violent person. He is aggressive because he is controlled by the id. He is controlled by his instincts. King Lear has a national cause. Okay? So King Lear wants to have a kingdom where all people feel safe, happy, and secure. Okay? So that's why he wants the kingdom to be built on Christian values. So King Lear's goal is a collective goal. So he emerges to be selfish, to be childish at the beginning. Okay, so at the beginning he seems to be a childish man who decides to divide the kingdom on the basis of love, and he wants to give the greatest portion of the kingdom to the daughter who loves him the most. Okay, so this is at the literal level, but at the philosophical level, King Lear wants to have a kingdom that takes the needs of the nation into consideration. So that's why King Lear expects to give the largest portion of the kingdom to Cordelia, because Cordelia is the epitome of his goal. I.e. she represents the goal that he aspires to achieve throughout the play. Of course, he makes a mistake. He has a tragic flaw, which is
because
not
she upholds
understanding.
the Christian values. Yes, as you said it.
Okay, so he doesn't understand the true nature of man. So he thinks that maybe he thinks that all people are prone to be good. Okay, so as a result of his sufferings throughout the play, he realizes that there are evil human beings who are highly selfish and individualistic.
Exactly.
Okay, and they destroy the kingdom, they destroy the universe for the sake of achieving their own personal goals. This applies to Macbeth. Macbeth is like Goneril and Regan and Edmund.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so the four characters are controlled by individualism. Okay, so Macbeth wants to secure his reign regardless of the consequences of the measures that he will take. So later on he will kill, I think that it is in Act 3, he kills Banquo. He wants to kill Macduff because he doubts these two persons. They are noble persons who have noble character, and he thinks that they are, or they constitute, threats to his reign. So this is the difference between King Lear and Macbeth. Okay? So Macbeth reduces himself to the level of a violent, of an aggressive man who is controlled by the instinct of survival. Okay?
Exactly.
So his main aim is to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, Macbeth is viewed from a Darwinian point of view. Darwin wrote his book, The Origin of Species.
The origin of species.
Yes, species, S-P-E-C-I-E-S.
Yes.
Okay, species, i.e. the origin of the kinds, i.e. kinds of animals, of human beings, and what have you. So in this book, Darwin presents a naturalistic view of man, i.e. man is controlled by the external forces of the world where he lives. So he is controlled, let's say, by the environment. He is controlled by biology, so he cannot control his own biology. This is one example. So according to Darwin, man lives in a state that lacks stability. Okay, so the state that he describes in The Origin of Species is similar to the state of nature that is discussed by the philosophers of the Renaissance. Okay, so according to Darwin, man lives in a jungle. The jungle lacks rules and laws. So that's why man struggles to survive. So this is what he calls the struggle for survival. And according to Darwin, the best man can survive, i.e. the strongest, the most powerful can survive, while or whereas the weakest men are destroyed by the strong men. So Macbeth appears to be the strongest animal living in this jungle. So the kingdom has become similar to a wilderness or to a jungle, and Macbeth is that ferocious animal that is controlled by the instinct of survival. Okay? And the fact that he trusts the witches associates him with the dark side of the unconscious. Okay? So the witches are evil creatures. And from an archetypal point of view, the witches represent the terrible mother. Okay? So according to the theory of archetypes, there are two types of woman. We have the Earth Mother, who represents life, fertility, abundance. And we have the Terrible Mother, who is associated with witches, with magicians, with the femme fatale, i.e. the evil woman, and the terrible mother is associated with the unconscious in its terrible aspects. The witches are associated with the terrible mother, with the unconscious in its terrible aspects. So the witches in Macbeth represent the evil side of the unconscious of man, and in the play they mainly represent the dark side of Macbeth's unconscious. Okay, so the witches in, I think at the beginning of Act 4 or at the end of Act 3, voice the agonies of Macbeth himself. They voice his concerns. Okay, so Macbeth has killed Banquo, but he is still afraid of Fleance. So he doesn't want Fleance to be the king of many kings. So he wants to make sure that he, Macbeth, will pass the throne on to his children. Okay? Macbeth is another source of threat to Macbeth, so that's why he wants to kill Macbeth. Okay? So when he meets the witches ask him to beware of Macbeth. Okay? So the witches prepare 3 apparitions. One apparition says to him, Macbeth, 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 beware Macbeth, i.e. beware of Macbeth. He already doubts the loyalty of Macbeth. He realizes that Macbeth is not loyal to him. So that's why he wants to kill him. So that's why I associate the witches with Unconscious of Macbeth. And they mainly represent the dark side of Macbeth's unconscious. The evil side. The shadow, if you want. And according to Carl Jung, C-A-R-L, Jung, J-U-N-G, according to Carl Jung, the shadow represents the dark side of human nature, i.e. the evil side. Okay? So when I come to discussing the witches in this act or in the following act, I will comment on their significance. Is it clear?
Very clear, Doctor. So,
okay. So Macbeth is a highly individualistic person, highly selfish. He doesn't have a national cause, he has a personal cause to achieve. King Lear has a collective cause. Okay? Collective.
Yes.
Yeah. Collective. I.e. collective, it is shared.
Yes.
By the nation. And according to Carl Jung, we have an individual, a personal unconscious. Okay, so you have your own individual unconscious. I have my own individual unconscious. You have your own needs, your desires, your drives. I have my own. But according to Carl Jung, beneath the personal unconscious, there is the collective unconscious that is shared by all human beings. Okay? So in the collective unconscious, there are the archetypes. The archetypes that are shared by all human beings. Okay? And the archetypes for Carl Jung are not ideas. Are not ideas shared by people. The archetypes are forms of psychic behavior. Okay? So according to Carl Jung, we behave psychologically in a certain way that is inherited. Okay? So the shadow, the anima, the animus, the persona, are elements of personality development according to Carl Jung. Okay, so Macbeth, or Macbeth's shadow, is given voice in the play. Okay, so he's controlled by the shadow. He's not controlled, let's say, by the persona, which Freud calls the ego. So Macbeth is not controlled by the ego. Macbeth is controlled by the it. And the it, in Freud's philosophy, is similar to the shadow that Carl Jung deals with. Okay? And you should know that Carl Jung was one of the students of Freud. And he broke with the man. So he developed his own theory of psychoanalysis. So there are certain concepts, certain ideas that are similar. So the ego in Freud's philosophy is similar to the persona that Carl Jung deals with. The id is similar to the shadow. Okay? So the shadow is associated with evil. This is the evil side of human character, according to Carl Jung. But according to Freud, the id is born with us. It controls our life during the first 3 years, then it is silenced. Okay? So when it emerges, when we grow up, we become aggressive, we become violent. So Macbeth becomes aggressive, Lady Macbeth becomes aggressive, because they are controlled by the it. Okay? So King Lear is not controlled by the it. Okay? So at the very beginning of the play, King Lear is controlled, if you want, by the ego. Okay? So the ego is the type of personality or the aspect of human personality that is approved by society. So that's why, according to Freud, we should be controlled by the ego. Okay? And the ego is similar to the persona in the case of Carl Jung. So the persona is the mask that hides our shadow, our id, our evil nature. Okay? So we suppress the drives, the tendencies that are evil, and we behave according to standards that are accepted to the society, or that are accepted by the society. Okay? So last time I left the discussion,
Thanks.
not at all. At the end, I think of page 95, I Act 3, Scene 1, and I discussed the significance of the modifiers, I leave the adjectives that Shakespeare uses, that Macbeth uses when he describes his reign. And I said the adjectives show that sterility is part and parcel of the true nature of Macbeth's reign, i.e. Macbeth will not pass the throne on to his children. Okay, 107. Okay, Act 3, Scene 2. Okay, so you may skip the first 10 lines of Scene 2. Act 3, Scene 2. Or if you want, enter Macbeth. So Lady Macbeth is talking to a servant. Then, towards the middle of her statement, she says, Macbeth enter Macbeth. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making. I think this is line 8. It is in my edition, line 8. Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on. Things without remedy should be without regard. What's done is done. Macbeth. We have scotched the snake, not killed it, i.e. we have cut or we have wounded the snake, but we have not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, both the world suffer, ere we will eat our meal in fear. Okay, so Macbeth lacks peace of mind. He lacks internal stability and security. The crime that he has committed has cost him peace of mind. So that's why his sleep is not safe, it is not secure. So he is always afraid. Okay, so there's a sense of fear controlling Macbeth. That's why he said, let the frame of things disjoint, both the world suffer. This is what I mentioned while I was answering Alice's question. So he wants to stabilize his reign even if stability is brought at the expense of this universe and the other world. Okay? So in other words, he will bring stability into the kingdom even if this will lead him to destroy the two worlds. Okay, so here he emerges as both as a Machiavellian ruler and as a Darwinian character. So in both cases, Macbeth's animalistic nature is made clear. Okay, so now Macbeth is controlled by his animal soul. Macbeth is controlled by his animal soul. And according to philosophers, we have the animal soul, we have the vegetative soul, and we have the thinking soul. And the thinking soul, according to philosophers, distinguishes man from animals. Okay, so man shares with the animals the animal soul. This animal soul is associated with acting, with certain basic needs and drives, and the ultimate level of the soul is the mind, which is called the thinking soul by philosophers. Okay? So Macbeth is now controlled by his animal soul. This animal soul urges him to provide himself with safety and security regardless of the consequences of his deeds. Okay? So in this case, he is struggling for survival. So he wants to survive as a king. And here the concept of the survival of the fittest becomes clear. So Macbeth is the most powerful character in the play so far. Okay? So he is in control of everything. He is in control of the kingdom, and he wants to achieve stability, safety, and security at the expense of the lives of others. Okay, so he says, let the frame of things disjoint, both the worlds suffer, ere we will eat our meat in fear, and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead whom we, to gain our place, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Okay? So he's suffering from mental instability, from lack of peace. Duncan is in his grave after life's fitful fever. He sleeps well. Reason has done his worst. Nor steel nor poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further. Okay, Lady Macbeth says, come on, gentle my lord, sleek over your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight. Okay, so tonight, Macbeth will hold a banquet. He has invited all the noble characters to this banquet. And he has invited Banquo and Fleance, and he has arranged to kill Banquo tonight. Okay, so Banquo will die at night. He will be murdered by the three murderers that Macbeth has hired, but Fleance will run away. Okay, so Banquo is killed while Macbeth and the noble persons are taking dinner at his castle. Okay, so a murderer shows up and tells Macbeth that he has killed Banquo. Banquo, Macbeth sees the ghost of Banquo. It is Act 3, Scene 3. Okay, so this takes place in Act 3, Scene 3. So the ghost of Banquo enters and sits in Macbeth's place. This is Act 3, Scene 4. Okay, Macbeth, it is line, let's say, 48. Which of you have done this? Lords, what, my good lord? Macbeth to the ghost. Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me. Ross, gentlemen, rise. His Highness is not well. Lady Macbeth, sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him, and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. To Macbeth, are you a man? Macbeth, I am a bold one, that dare look on that which might appall the devil. Lady Macbeth, oh proper stuff, this is the painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. All these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her granddam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces when all's done? Look but on a stool. Okay, so here the ghost of Banquo appears to Macbeth. He is the only one who sees the ghost. Okay, so here the ghost accuses Macbeth of the crime that he has committed. Okay, so the ghost here is similar to the dagger that Macbeth saw before he killed the king. So the ghost here is a manifestation of Macbeth's superego. Okay, so Macbeth's superego draws Macbeth's attention to the crime that he has committed. Okay, so the superego here is a source of suffering, a source of pain for Macbeth. So it causes him fear and agony. Okay, and in this case, the superego betrays Macbeth to the noble characters of the play, i.e. they tell the noble characters about the true nature of Macbeth. So after this event, Lennox and Ross start to doubt Macbeth's real nature. So they raise doubts about how Macbeth has become the king. So now they think that he has killed Duncan and has taken his place. Okay, so they are the superego, i.e. the conscious, the sense of remorse, betrays Macbeth to the noble character. Okay, so the superego leads him to talk about, or to talk indirectly about the crime that he has committed. Okay, so here the superego is a sign of psychological disturbance. Okay, so man's life, man's psychological life should be a normal life. In this sense, it should be controlled by the ego. So if it is controlled by either the superego or the id, man will suffer from psychological disturbances. Okay, so now Macbeth is psychologically disturbed. So he imagines that he sees Banquo at the banquet. So this is the ghost of Banquo. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes, doctor, yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay, so Macbeth decides to go to the witches. So the witches meet in Act 3, Scene 5. They are rebuked. They are rebuked, R-E-B-U-K-E-D. They are reprimanded by Hecate. And I told you that Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft. Okay, the very beginning of Act 3, Scene 5. The heath, thunder, enter the three witches meeting Hecate. First witch. Why? How now, Hecate? You look
Doctor,
angry. Yes.
who is the Hecate?
The goddess of witchcraft.
Okay.
Okay? Hecate, have I not reason, thou damned as you are, saucy and overbold? How did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loved for his own ends, not for you. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Okay? So at the end of Act 3, Scene 4, Macbeth tells his wife that he will go to the witches. So if you want, you may go back to Act 3, Scene 4, line 130. Macbeth, I hear it by the way, but I will send. There is not one of them, but in his house I keep a servant feet. So here he is telling his wife that he has his own spies at the houses of the noble persons of Scotland. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will, to the weird sisters. More shall they speak, for now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. Okay? So he will go to the weird sisters, i.e., to the witches. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wait no more, returning were as tedious as go over. Okay, so he decides to go to the weird sisters. And Hecate in Act 3, Scene 4 says to them, says to the witches, make amends now, get you gone and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Okay, so the witches or Hecate knows that Macbeth will come to them to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. I am for the air. This night I'll spend unto a dismal and a fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it ere it come to ground. And that, distilled by magic's lights, shall raise such artificial sprites as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear his hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Okay? So at the beginning of the lecture, I said the witches are associated with the terrible mother. They are associated with evil. They are associated with the unconscious in its terrible aspects. Okay? So the witches are a source of evil, and they are going to mislead Macbeth. They are going to mislead M-I-S-L-E-A-D. They are going to mislead, i.e. to deceive, to cheat Macbeth, i.e. they will lead him to his own destruction. Okay? So the witches are evil creatures, and they get involved with evil spirits. And in the play, the witches will mislead Macbeth so that they will cause his own destruction. Okay? So this is one thing. The second thing that I want to say is that the witches are associated with Macbeth's unconscious. Okay? So the witches in this case utter, i.e. they express what Macbeth hides in the unconscious. Okay? So at the philosophical level, at the symbolic level, they are the embodiment of Macbeth's unconscious. Okay? So they said, or Hecate says, they They will show Macbeth apparitions, illusions that shall draw him on to his confusion. Okay? So Macbeth will not be given clear answers. Okay? But he thinks that the answers that the witches give him provide him with safety and security. Okay? So that's why he trusts them. So here he trusts the unreal. Okay? So Hecate, as an evil creature, knows that Macbeth will come to them to know his destiny. Okay, so I will skip Act 3, Scene 6, and we come back to it later on. So let me read the beginning of Act 4, Scene 1. Act 4, Scene 1. Okay, Macbeth comes to the cave to meet the witches. So Act 4, Scene 1, a dark cave. In the middle, a boiling cauldron. Thunder, the three witches. Okay, so the witches are preparing their charms. Macbeth enters. Okay, I will read line 50. Okay, line 50 of Act 4, Scene 1. Macbeth, I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the westy waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's germ tumble altogether, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you. Okay, so Macbeth wants to get an answer even if the answers of the witches will lead to the destruction of the whole universe. So they showed him three apparitions. The first apparition says to him, beware of Macduff. Okay, so he is already suspecting Macduff. Okay, so this is the first apparition. The second apparition says to him, no man born of a woman will kill Macbeth. No man born of a woman will harm Macbeth. So this means that no human being can cause Macbeth harm. So this is the second answer. The third apparition says to him, Macbeth will be destroyed Macbeth will be destroyed only when Birnam Wood moves towards Dunsinane Hill, i.e. towards his castle. Okay? So these are three answers that assure Macbeth that he will not be defeated as the King of Scotland. Okay? Now here I associate the witches with the unconscious. So the witches are in a dark cave, and Macbeth meets them at that cave. Therefore, the dark cave stands for the unconscious of Macbeth. The dark cave stands for the unconscious of Macbeth. So in this case, the witches express the desires of Macbeth. He wants to be a powerful ruler who will never be destroyed by his enemies. And the witches provide him with this assurance. The witches provide him with this assurance. So this is the assurance that he has deep down. Okay? So this is the assurance that lurks inside his unconscious mind. Okay? Then at the end he wants to know whether Banquo's sons will be the kings. Okay, so they show him an apparition of 8 kings and a man carrying, or the ghost of Banquo carrying a mirror. So they show him that Banquo's children will be kings after Macbeth. Okay? So in this case, the witches emphasize the fear that Macbeth has inside his mind. Okay? So he's afraid of Fleance. Fleance is still alive. So Fleance may become the King of Scotland. Okay? So in both cases, the witches express the desires of Macbeth as well as his fear. So he is afraid of Banquo's descendants. Okay. Now back to Act 3, Scene 6. Act 3, Scene 6. The scene is somewhere in Scotland. Enter Lennox and another lord. Okay, now Lennox and the lord discuss Macbeth, and they show that Macbeth has become the king as a result of malice, as a result of murdering the king. So they suspect that Macbeth has killed the king and has killed Banquo, and he intends to kill Macduff and Malcolm and Donalbain. Okay, so I will not read the part that is mentioned by Lennox. I will read the part that is mentioned by Lord. It is line 25. The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court and is received of the most pious Edward. Edward is the King of England. And is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither, i.e. there, Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid, to wake Northumberland, i.e. to wake Malcolm, and warlike Seward. Seward is, according to the play, is Malcolm's cousin, uncle. That by the help of these, with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, do faithful homage, and receive free honors on which we pine for. And this report hath so exasperated the king that he prepares for some attempt of war. So this shows us that the King of England is preparing an army to send with Macduff and Seward to England to fight the tyrant Macbeth. Okay? So when he says, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, do faithful homage, and receive free honors, all which we pine for now. Okay, so Scotland is diseased. Okay, so Scotland is a diseased nation.
Doctor,
Yes.
sorry,
So
but
that's, yeah.
page are
Okay.
you reading?
Act 3, Scene 6,
Okay, doctor.
the very beginning. Okay, you may skip the part that is mentioned by Lennox. Okay, then you have Lord, it is line 25. Okay, so the Scottish people are suffering from lack of physical and mental stability and comfort. Okay, so they lack physical comfort because they don't have meat to their tables. They suffer from mental troubles, psychological disorders, because their lives are controlled by fear. Free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives. Okay, so the King of Scotland is no longer a source of life to his nation. The King of Scotland is no longer a source of life to his nation. Okay, he is not a life giver to his nation, as is the role of the king according to myth. Okay, so according to myth, the life of the nation is identified with the health of the king. According to myth, the life of the nation is identified with the health of the king. Okay? Now the king is psychologically, is morally sick. Okay? So he is controlled by avarice. He is controlled by ambition. So that's why he is not a healthy ruler. Okay? So the king who is not healthy affects the life of the nation. Therefore, the Scottish nation in the play lacks physical comfort, peace of mind, safety and security, and an honorable life. Okay, so the peace of the nation is threatened by Macbeth himself. Okay, so this lack of safety and security is dramatized when Lady Macduff and her children are killed by the men of Macbeth. Okay, so from a mythological point of view, the Scottish nation is suffering from death at all levels. That's why it needs to have a savior, a healer. Okay? And the healer or the savior, S-A-V-I-O-R, is at the end of the play, will restore life back to the Scottish nation. With Macduff to Scotland, where they will fight the tyrant Macbeth. From a mythological point of view, Macbeth is not a healthy ruler. His lack of health inflicts pain and suffering and death on the nation. Okay, at the beginning of Act 4, Scene 1, no, not the beginning, at the end, the witches disappear. Okay, go back to Act 4, Scene 1. Okay, so then at the end of line 132, the stage direction reads, music, the witches dance, and vanish with Hecate. Act 4, Scene 1. Okay, after line 132, the stage direction reads, music, the witches dance and vanish with Hecate. Macbeth, where are they? Gone? Let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar. Come in, without there, i.e. he is asking the one who is waiting outside the cave to come in. Enter Lennox. Lennox, what's your grace's will? Macbeth, saw you the weird sisters? Lennox, no, my lord. Macbeth, came they not by you? Lennox, no, indeed, my lord. Okay, so this is another instance that shows you that the witches are associated with Macbeth's it. Okay, so Lennox doesn't see the weird sisters, they don't pass by him, so that's why the witches are associated with Macbeth, if you want to say imagination. Okay, so this is what he imagines. So he imagines that he goes to the witches. Okay, so Lennox tells Macbeth that Macbeth has run away to England. Macbeth decides to send some murderers to kill Lady Macduff and her children. So they do this in Act 4, Scene 2. Okay, Act 4, Scene 3, the very beginning. Okay, Act 4, Scene 3, the very beginning. England, a room in the King's Palace. Enter Malcolm and Macduff. Malcolm, let us speak out some desolate, okay, let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty. Macduff, let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men, bestride our downfall burden. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dollar. Malcolm, what I believe I'll wail, what no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to friend, I will, what you have spoke, it may be so perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God. Macduff, I am not treacherous. Okay, so Malcolm here is testing Macduff's loyalty. So he wants to make sure that Macduff is not one of the agents of Macbeth. So that's why he accuses him of having been sent by Macbeth to Malcolm himself. Okay, so as they discuss the situation in Scotland, Malcolm or Macduff. Okay, so Macduff wants to convince Malcolm to go back to Scotland to fight Macbeth, to dethrone him, and to appoint Malcolm the King of Scotland. Okay, so here Malcolm tells Macduff that if he takes the place of Macbeth, the Scottish will replace a tyrant with another tyrant. Okay, so here in Act 4, Scene 3, I want to read this part because it is very important. Act 4, Scene 3. It is line 45. Act 4, Scene 3, line 45. Malcolm is talking to Macduff. He says, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer and more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed. Macduff, what should he be? Malcolm, it is myself I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice are grafted, that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms. Okay, so here Malcolm is saying that if I become the king, I will destroy the kingdom. I will inflict pain on the people because my life is controlled by vice and evil. Macduff, not in the legions of horrid hell, can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth. Malcolm, I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name, but there is no bottom, none in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust and my desire. All continent impediments would overbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth than such an one to reign. So he tells Macduff that he is a highly sinful person, and he says that his sins are greater than the sins of Macbeth. By the way, this is not true. This is not true. Malcolm is not an avaricious person. He is not lustful. He is not voluptuous. He is not evil. He is testing Macduff. So he wants to make sure that Macbeth is loyal to him. Okay, so he wants to make sure that Macbeth is not trying to take him back to Macbeth. So that's why he mentions different kinds of sins and vices and claims that all of these sins control his life. So he is not fit to be a king. Okay, I will skip a page. Okay, Malcolm, but I have none. Okay, so Macbeth says to him, okay, we will give you a wife, you will get married, you will satisfy all of your desires, so you don't have to worry about this. Malcolm says, but I have none. The king becoming graces, i.e. he has none of the graces of the king. The king becoming graces as justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting it many times. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth. Macbeth, oh Scotland, Scotland. Malcolm, if such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken. Macbeth, fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation miserable. So here Malcolm mentions many sins, such as voluptuousness, and this is one of the 7 deadly sins, voluptuousness, lust, avarice, okay? So these are examples of the 7 deadly sins, okay? And he mentions their opposites, the 7 virtues of Christianity, okay? So one or some of these virtues are, let's say, temperance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience. So these are some of the 7 virtues. Okay, so this conversation between Malcolm and Macbeth highlights the virtues that should control the life of the king. So according to the play, and in other words, according to Shakespeare, the real ruler, the real king, should be a true Christian figure whose life is determined by the 7 virtues of Christianity. Okay, so this ruler who is controlled by the 7 virtues of Christianity is the life giver to the nation. Okay, I will leave the discussion at this point. I will discuss it in detail next time. Therefore, on Thursday, I will conclude Macbeth. And if we have time, we will introduce Othello. Okay, so we stopped here. At
Okay.
Act 4, Scene 3. Do you have any question before I dismiss the class?
No, doctor. Thank you. Very clear.
Okay, thank you.
So thanks.
Okay,
No.
so we will conclude Macbeth on Thursday, and I will introduce Othello. So try to get a copy of Othello. So you may download it. It is available online. Okay? Okay. So thank you for attending.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.